Hi, Day 14 readers. Welcome back and happy 2 weeks of reading the Bible. Congratulations. And we are going to be finishing up Matthew chapter 10 today. So let's get started. At the end of yesterday, we talked about the fact that we will be facing persecution for our Christianity and our belief that Jesus was the Messiah in his death on the cross, in his resurrection, and the eternal life that he gives. And we mentioned that, there's going to be persecution of all kinds of levels in this time after Jesus ascended. The persecution looked a lot more like dying for the gospel. And here in the United States, we don't see that as much as we would in other countries. Our persecution is a little bit lighter, fortunately, but it doesn't necessarily make it a lot easier. Sometimes it comes in the form of a social media post, or it could be a family member that believes something different and an argument that may be stirred up because of it. And so that can definitely hurt our heart as well. And so God says here, Jesus is telling the disciples to be bold in their faith. And that is a lot easier said than done. And the reason he says to be bold in the faith is because we have nothing to fear. Even back then, they were talking about fear of harm to the body, because it was commonplace to possibly even stone people, and maybe not even to death, to where there are several stories in the Bible where they're stoned and close to death and survive, and then they continue to share the gospel. And Jesus says, be bold, because God knows us better than anyone else, better than if we have a spouse, better than our kids, better than ourselves, because he knows how many hairs are on our head, which we obviously don't know. And so we can trust that he's in control because he does know all of those things. And then it talks about the fact that Jesus came, and he says, I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. And of course, we know that when we talk about the Christmas story and Jesus coming down as a baby, he was known as the Prince of Peace. And so he preached a message of peace, but it did not mean that he was going to do what a lot of the Jews expected him to do, which is why they did not think that he was the Messiah. They wanted him to overthrow the Roman government, who was actually persecuting them and their Jewish faith. And Jesus said, that's not who I am. It's not why I'm here. But his road, his path, as we read the other day, is narrow. And so there is a cost to following Jesus. And sometimes that cost is greater for others than it might be for us. And one thing I was thinking about as I was reading this was, for me, I think about like our, close friends or family that have different beliefs than we do. And that to me is a very hard place to be. Sometimes harder than just the random person on the street or the person that makes some, Twitter post that goes viral. Those are hard to read because it goes against what we believe. But it's much harder when we know that Jesus says, I'm not here to bring peace, but a sword. And that sword can sometimes divide families and friends. And that is very difficult when we love those people and we want the same things that we have, and we want them to have that same belief. So continue to pray for those friends and those family members who maybe don't share that same belief as you in Jesus and the death and resurrection, because that is such a big thing. And I know God has the power to change hearts, as we're going to read all throughout the New Testament as we go on. And then the last piece that we read, it just talked about that we needed to take up our cross, and basically it means die to self. and we can't put ourselves first. We have to put Jesus as the center of our life, and that put others first, and be thinking about them. So the cost of following Jesus can be great, but the reward is immeasurable. So just remember that as you go throughout your day to day. Be bold in your faith, share your faith with others, and have a great day.